Hey guys, Miss McMullen here. No Minnie today. Her and Harper are playing right now, so I guess she didn't want to come over to our lesson. So hopefully no interruptions from Minnie today. We got Frozen 2 playing in the other room, so you might be hearing some singing coming from Harper, but hopefully that's the only interruption. All right, let me share my screen with you and we will get started. Do y'all hear? She's screaming into the unknown right now. So funny. She's running down the hallway now. Oh my goodness. Crazy girl. Alrighty. Today is session 7, which is called Readers Learn Real Life Lessons from Fantastical Characters. So a couple lessons ago, we started talking about themes that are emerging from your stories. And so that's kind of going to connect to today's lesson, but today's lesson is really connecting that to your life, okay? So every time a bunch of us read a story together, you might learn something different than the person sitting next to you. And that's because each one of us has a different life. And so different things might connect with you more than they connect with the person sitting next to you. So today I really want you to be thinking not necessarily what's the right answer about the theme today, but how does what the character is going through relate to my life, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that. So fantasy stories might have these fantastical plots and all of these crazy characters and, you know, lots of different things happening, but they are also about themes and life lessons. So yeah, there's a reason why the author sat down to write those stories, and typically it's because they want to make a connection with their reader, and how they do that is they have the readers learn something alongside the characters. So while we're doing this today, you need to be thinking to yourself, what lessons do these characters learn that could be important to my life? So my example today is going to be from my book that I'm reading. And so some of you are going to be able to know what I mean. Some of you haven't read the book that I'm reading, which is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. But I think it's a pretty simple example today that even if you're reading Harry Potter, you'll still be able to understand. So in my story, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Jacob, our main character, comes into contact, he meets a girl who can levitate. So she can, what that means is if she's not tied down to the ground, she will float up into the air. So obviously, I am never going to come into contact with someone who can levitate, right? So that's not something that I can really connect to my life, because that's probably never going to happen to me. If it does, maybe in my dreams, or maybe, I don't know. So I'm never going to come into contact with someone who can levitate and fly in the air. But I can learn something from Jacob, from the way he acts in that moment. So Jacob is meeting all of these peculiar people and humans and learning about what they can do. And he sees this girl who they unattach her from her shoes and she floats up into the air. What does he do? Does he freak out? No. Does he yell? No. Does he call her names? No. He respects her and watches her and learns from her and about her peculiarity, and is just really curious about her and all of these different things that she can do. So the thing that I can learn from Jacob is that it relates to my life, because as a teacher, Harper's yelling in the hallway. I hope you guys can't hear that. As a teacher, I meet a lot of different types of kids, and all of you have your own peculiar traits. And the way that I can relate that to my life is that in my life as a teacher, when I meet all of these students who have all of these different talents and things that they can do, I don't judge. I'm curious about you guys. I try to learn more about you, and I respect you and just learn more about you and respect the peculiarities that you guys have in your life. And I think it's cool, and I like learning about your all's life, and so that's something that I can learn from Jacob, and something that I'm taking away from Jacob in that moment. So here's our chart that we've been working with. The new one that we added yesterday, which, remember, it didn't really work, but I made sure it's there. It says, consider the dragons the character's face. So that was from yesterday. The new one today is over here. I ran out of room over there, so I had to move it over here. Is sophisticated readers of fantasy apply life lessons learned in fiction to their own lives. So a little bit different than, I don't think we even have one up here about the theme day. A little bit different than the theme day, because on the theme day, we were trying to determine what was the theme. And today there might not be a right or wrong answer, because today you're not just stating a theme for me. You're telling me how does what your character does relate to your life. Okay, So this is what your work time is going to look like. I want you guys to just do a journal entry today. Just jot down your thinking. I have some questions up here to help you if you're stuck, and I'm going to show you mine too. I'm going to journal right now in this mini lesson for you with my example. So let me get out of here. Come on. I might have to stop the share for a moment. Come on. Okay, there we go. Let me go back to this. Okay. So it says journal entry. How is the book you're reading influencing you? Is there a lesson you are starting to learn? How does what the character goes through relate to your life? You guys don't have to answer every single question today. It's basically a spot for you to be looking at and being like, okay, what can I write today, my journal entry? And I want it to be about something that you're learning from your character that you're relating to your own life. So I'm going to do mine for you. So in this story, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Jacob, who is the main character, remember, meets a new character who can levitate. Jacob does not judge or ridicule this person for being different. He just observes her and tries to find out more about her. He truly just wants to get to know her. In my life, I meet a lot of new kids each year. Each kid is different from the next. When I'm getting to know them, I do what Jacob does. I listen to them, ask questions, and learn about their life. I never judge them for who they are. Hi, Harper. Oh, she just ran behind me. She's running around the house right now. Okay, so this is what I mean by today's work. I literally just kind of spewed out my thinking. It's incomplete sentences though. We're not making bulleted lists today. I want you guys to do like a 5th grade journal entry today. Just kind of what are your thoughts? Is there something that's happening in the story that you can relate back to your own life? So if you're stuck again, remember I have these 3 questions to kind of give you a jump start there. Here's your reflection today. It says, go back to the work on the previous slide, which is my journal entry that I just did, and use the checklists to edit or revise your work. Check off each one. So I'm going to go through each one here and go back to my work on the previous slide and make sure I've done that. And if I have, I'm just going to check it off here. If I haven't done it, I'm going to fix it, okay? So I wrote in complete sentences. So I'm going to go up here and reread my work and just make sure everything is a complete sentence and nothing is a phrase on its own, okay? In the story, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Jacob meets a new character who can levitate. Jacob does not judge or ridicule this person for being different. He just observes her and tries to find out more about her. He truly just wants to get to know her. In my life, I meet a lot of new kids each year. Each kid is different from the next. When I'm getting to know them, I do what Jacob does. I listen to them, ask questions, and learn about their life. I never judge them for who they are. So I did write in complete sentences. So I'm just going to put a little X here. All right, I used punctuation to show when my sentences were ending. So that means you're going to go back, look, find all of your sentences, and make sure each one ends with punctuation. If it does, check it off. If it doesn't, fix it. So that way you can check it off. Do not move on today to the next subject unless you can check off every single thing on this list. You're not just going to be like, oh, I did that, I didn't do that, and I did that, and move on. No. You're going to make sure you've done everything on here, and then you're going to move on, okay? The next one said I wrote a 5th grade worthy journal entry. What that means is 5th grade worthy means that you're really thinking. You're really thinking deeply today. Surface level stuff, remember on the surface, that's more like 3rd grade-ish. That's kind of the thinking that you were doing in 3rd grade. Today, I want you to dive deep into your thinking, okay? Really think about how their life in the book relates to your life out here in Crestwood, Kentucky, okay? The next one says, I wrote my responses, multiple sentences, or even a few paragraphs. I might see some paragraphs today if you guys have multiple ways that it's relating to your life. The next one, I capitalize the beginning of each sentence. And then the last one is I capitalize the title of my book. So for each one of these, I want you to go back to your previous slide and make sure you've done them. Do not move on to the next subject until you can check off every single one of these, okay? All right, so just to recap, your work today is a journal entry. Use the questions listed on the slide, these questions, to help you if you're stuck, okay? And then for work time, you're gonna use that checklist to check over your work, okay? All right, you guys, get started. We didn't hear any Frozen sing-alongs in this lesson, so that was good. No disruptions. I'm gonna let you guys get to work. See you later.